Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am moving on to my next main Let's Play series. This is a game I've talked about doing for a very long time, and I'm finally getting around to it now that everything is good with my new recording setup, and the PS3 is working just fine. So this is Ratchet and Clank on the HD collection here on the PS3. That's right, I'm finally doing PS3 Let's Plays, and this is the first official one. Obviously, Bossera as a side LP, and Destiny was essentially just a test. Some of you guys may remember way back in the day when I first started doing this, one of the very first games I ever did like a regular walkthrough of was Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. And the reason why I didn't start with the first game is I really didn't know how much there was to talk about. So this time through, we're going to be doing all three games in the original trilogy in HD on the PS3 so I can show you guys better quality gameplay footage because my recording setup was terrible back then. I was also terrible at commentary. And I've come a long way since then. I'm leaving all cutscenes in for all three games in the trilogy so you guys can get the full story. I'll try not to interrupt it very much. I really like the opening to this game. It's very short, but without any real dialogue, you can pretty much understand what's going on. So Ratchet's trying to build a ship to get off his dinky little home planet there. Meanwhile, this is a facility for making security robots. And it appears they've had a malfunction, which has created this little guy. This game is very original for its time and had a lot of sci-fi elements mixed with cartoon elements, and the aesthetic was very original and very pleasing at the time. And it's held up remarkably well, I have to say. You may notice the cutscenes here are like sort of like in a 16:9 type of frame, while all the pre-rendered cutscenes are in a 16:9 type of frame, while all the in-game cutscenes like this one right here are full frame. So this is where the graphics really shine through, is when you have all the in-game cutscenes and the in-game, all the actual gameplay, obviously. That's where the HD graphics really show off. As you can see, this game is known for having really beautiful, great skyboxes. I'm going to adjust my setup here real quick. I want to make sure that I have fast camera speed, and I have the default camera is, I know it says normal, but it actually is inverted, so I have to put it to inverted to make it normal. So I'm going to be completely condescending for this Let's Play and assume that this is 2002 and you've never played a Ratchet and Clank game before. But you've come high off the heels of the Spyro the Dragon series that Insomniac Games made prior to this on the PlayStation 1. So this is a 3D platformer. We jump around, we whack enemies with our wrench, our primary melee weapon. It's called the Omni Wrench 8000, and as you can see, we can deal with these enemies with a single hit. We have a 3-hit combo that's called a I think it's called a multi-strike or something like that. Then we have another move where we jump in the air and press the square button. That's called Hyper Strike. And we have another move where we can crouch and then press square and we'll throw the wrench. That's called Comet Strike. I just demonstrated it there. So there's a help desk system that comes in and interrupts you and tries to give little helpful tips. I'm going to be skipping all of those so I can explain everything to you because I'm incredibly condescending like that. So you have a double jump, obviously. The second jump is actually more so for height. Now there was no double jump in Spyro. You had the single jump and you had the little glide at the end of your jump. And similarly, the double jump is to get extra height on your jump and be able to grab that ledge there at the last minute. It doesn't actually add any distance to your jump, so if you're trying to cover a large gap, double jumping is really not going to help that much because, as you saw back there, if you're trying to, you're going to get all the distance from your jump from your single jump, really. There's a health pickup there. It's called Nanotech. We did not need it. We're collecting bolts, as you can see, when we defeat these enemies and break open these crates, and bolts are the currency for this game. The way that they marketed the game was like, oh, every single enemy is a machine, therefore it drops bolts when you kill it. Which makes sense, of course. Not every single enemy in this game actually is a machine, but it's a video game, whatever, run around and collect the coins, that kind of thing, that a lot of these platformers are known for. We have one weapon, actually, that we just equipped there with a circle button. It's called the Bomb Glove. These Gadgetron crates here give us ammo for it, and there's a unique item pickup for every single type of weapon ammo in the game. And the Bomb Glove is actually a very good weapon to start with. We only start with 10 rounds out of its 40 round capacity, which is kind of lame, but if you can see here, we can hit L1 and target in first person, and by throwing that bomb at that group of enemies, we can kill all 3 of them with the splash damage. Now, the Bomb Glove deals 2 hits of damage as opposed to your single wrench attack. That's basically my unit of measurement for how much damage things do in the first game, is the equivalent amount of wrench hits it would deal. We actually took a hit there, which is pretty lame. But yeah, the Bomb Glove deals the equivalent of what two hits of damage would be with your wrench. So it's actually really powerful at this point. It can take out mostly all these enemies with a single shot, but we can't spam it because, again, we don't have a lot of ammo for it. We'll be getting ammo for it pretty soon here. That pretty much wraps up the first level here. We sped right through it, but then again, it is incredibly easy. Those robots we fought there are really the only enemies that can deal any damage to us. The frogs can't really deal any damage to you unless you walk right into them. They'll just stand right in front of you and croak, pretty much. Well, looks like we picked up the robot from the wreckage here. Might come in handy a little bit later. Now back to fixing our stupid ship.
Interesting.
Yay!
You're quite handy with your wrench.
You bet. I built that ship with it.
Currently, I'm in search of someone who could be of assistance in saving the solar system. Do you know where I might find that fellow?
Well, he's on the radio every week.
That's David Kaye doing the voice of Clank there. You may recognize him as the voice from Megatron from the Transformers Armada game, to make a callback to a previous Let's Play.
My race, the Blog, have a small problem. Our planet has become so polluted, overpopulated, and poisonous that we are
I love this game's sense of humor. The whole series is good about that.
Have a solution. We are constructing a pristine new world using the choicest planetary components available. So, what does this mean to you, you might ask? Using highly sophisticated technology, which you couldn't possibly understand, we will be extracting a large portion of your planet and adding it to our new one. Unfortunately, this change in mass will cause your planet to spin out of control and drift into the sun, where it will explode into a flaming ball of gas. But, of course, sacrifices must be made. Thank you for your cooperation.
Cut!
And if you don't like it, you can take your whiny, sniveling, snot-nosed populations, form a line behind me, and kiss my... We're still on? Well, turn it off, you idiot!
That really took me by surprise the first time I played it.
The people on those planets are hosed. Well, good luck getting Captain Quark to help you.
Actually, you could help me. If you could use your ship to take me to the coordinates contained in this infobot, I might be able to gather further information there.
Even if I wanted to, I can't. I'm missing a crucial component of the ship.
The robotic ignition system.
How did you know that?
I, sir, happen to be equipped with...
Clank doesn't ever scan things like that throughout the rest of the series.
So, I agree to take you to this...
Well, I guess he does at one point in Going Commando, but that's really about it.
That is what I'm proposing.
Deal.
This could be a problem. Take care of it.
I never for the life of me understand why Drek seems to think that we would be a problem. Like, he has no idea what that ship is. It's barely being held together. It's a piece of junk. And he's like, oh, that clearly is going to be a problem that should get in the way of my evil plan. You should go and take care of that tall, dark, mysterious general person. And it's like, why would he send one of his best men to go after this puny little ship when he has no idea where it's going or what it's for? And he doesn't even follow up either.
So you see, it would be most beneficial.
So Clank has now been identified. We've given him that name, and it will stick for the rest of the franchise, of course.
Unfortunately, you have no choice in the matter.
Let's just see what Captain Quark has to say about that, my good man. I don't see what's so funny. Captain Quark could dispatch you without even breaking a sweat, you puny.
You have now officially worn out your welcome.
I guess Captain Quark is supposed to be some galactic superhero of some kind.
Stop this!
Now it really reminds me of a cartoon.
Okay, wait. You're right. I will withdraw my troops.
Really?
No! He's all yours, gentlemen. Try not to leave any marks.
There's a lot of comic book aesthetic to this game as well, to a certain extent. Like, I can easily see a lot of the characters in this game being drawn in comic book style if they chose to. Wow, you completely vaporized your ship on impact, and you are perfectly fine.
Sorry about that. Well, we're not leaving the way we came in.
Perhaps we could procure a ship from one of the inhabitants.
If there are any left.
Alright, so we have arrived on a new planet. This is Novalis. And there are 3 branching paths right here at the beginning. This is what they call a Gadgetron vending station. And it has new weapons for us to buy, as well as some ammo for the bomb glove if we need it. So we have a weapon here available called the Processor. We do not have enough bolts to afford it. So let's go a little bit off the beaten path so that we may acquire said bolts to afford the weapon. So this over here is a completely optional area, and this is one of the most brilliant things about this game, in my opinion, that really made it stand out, is the branching paths and the adventure game elements, very similar to, you know, the Spyro games. That's kind of open worldness that, say, Crash Bandicoot didn't have, because Crash Bandicoot was linear stages to a certain extent. They still had like secrets and stuff, but it was still just like taking a 2D stage from, like, say, a Mario or a Donkey Kong Country and making it in 3D. It was still, you know, there wasn't any open worldness to it. And this game, you know, changed all that. And of course, that stems from Spyro. And Jak and Daxter, if you guys have played that. And I'll probably make some parallels to Jak and Daxter as well, even though the two games are very different. Jak and Daxter did come out in 2001, and this game came out in 2002. And they very much piggybacked off each other's success. And I like both franchises, but I eventually may one day LP the Jak series, but right now I'm just going to focus on this series. But I'll make some parallels wherever they're relevant. There's no key objectives in this area aside from unlocking a door that you'll need to go through later. When you sidetrack through here, there's a swimming mechanic in this game as well, if you couldn't tell. Very similar to the swimming in Spyro. There's breakables that you can destroy in the environment that'll give you more bolts as well, that are kind of hidden in the environment almost. Like, they're kind of just subtle elements of the foreground that you can break to get bolts as well. So there's mushrooms in this area that you can break, and also those stalagmites that are coming out of the ground, you can break those. Some more one-hit enemies down here. The guys up there, I'm going to look up their name pretty soon here, but they are two-hit enemies, and they also have a long-range attack, which they're incredibly easy to dodge. Like, once they've started firing, they will fire in that same direction until they've run out of ammo, and then they'll retarget. So they're very easy to dodge. Hey, look, this part of the wall is a different color than the rest of the wall! And looking for us, we have a bomb strapped to our arms, so... Yes, we have red dungeoneering for assholes. And we're gonna bomb glove through the wall and find a secret. No game is complete without secrets. There's the hyper strike I was talking about earlier. We're getting a lot of bolts for this, and now we'll be able to forward that weapon. I'm just making a little mental note there by jumping. I was looking at my jump height to see if a crouch jump got me any higher off the ground. It really doesn't. I think that I saw that bolt glistening in the wall there, and I thought, I can probably get that. These are bolt cranks right here. You can attach your wrench to a square and then walk around in a circle, and the crank will unlock a door for you. It's a simple mechanic. Yeah, this area it's just a little side area. We circle back around to the beginning of the level again, and it unlocks this door up here. This was closed before we got up here, so now we're back to where we started, and we can continue throughout the other parts of the level, actually have important objectives, and now we can do it with a new weapon.